Hi, Cutie Pies. It's Lanikia, and I am coming to you with a new episode of General Hospital. This is season 59, episode 113. Okay, so I like to start from the people who I'm like, to the most interested, but they were jumping all over the place today. So I'm just gonna knock out storylines that kind of were connected and get it over with that way. So the first storyline, which is the one I was wanting to see, was Brooklyn. I'm sorry, I like Brooklyn, but that wasn't it. It was Maxie, Felicia, where they pick up where they left off with them on the bridge, right? Well, on the bank, and so Peter is about to shoot Maxie, and that's when Felicia comes up, and we find out it was a tire iron that she hit Peter with. She laid him out with the tire iron, so he went sliding down the is it called embankment? Anyways, he went sliding down, right? And so once he goes sliding down, he's on the ground, and then Felicia goes and she checks on Maxie and everything, and they go and they're like, oh my God, Maxie gets the gun. Thank you, Maxie, because I get so tired of when things like this happen. I'm like, go get the gun. That was the first thing I would have done. Easier said when you watching it. What is it, Monday morning quarterback? But anyways, so Maxie gets the gun and she tells people, I have your gun, but he's not responding. So they're like, oh my God, he might be dead. And so then Anna and Drew come along, right? And they didn't even show Dante and Kruger. We're going to see how that ends up with them. But anyways, Anna and Drew come along, and Drew's so dramatic. He had to slide down. So they come along and he checks the pulse, and he's like, he's alive, but he's barely alive. And Anna was just like, what happened? How did you get here, Felicia? And so they, kind of give a update on what happened. And so then Peter starts talking. He's like, Maxie or whatever. And Drew tells him, because Anna says, I'm going to go and call an ambulance. So that leaves Maxie, Felicia, and Drew, right? So Peter's trying to talk to Maxie, right? And Drew was like, y'all get behind me. No, you're not going to do this to her in your last moments and everything. And, even more traumatized this girl. But Peter is just begging Maxie. He tells her, don't leave him and all that. And she's like, you tried to kill me 5 minutes ago. Like, if there was any speck of love, the size of a mustard seed love left, it is gone. Like, you killed that or whatever. So then we see that Drew talks to him. He says, you're gonna have if you even survive, you're going to prison. Like, you're going to be in prison, because Peter tells Maxie, I'll never be done with you. I'll never leave you or whatever. Sir, it's over. But you never know with General Hospital. They can revive him like 5 years later. Here he comes. But anyways, so then we see that Anna comes back and everything, and Maxie and Felicia walk away from Peter, and Drew leaves him as well. So Drew is gonna get Maxie and Felicia to safety, and Anna's gonna stay with Peter to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Make sure the ambulance comes to him and whatever. And so he tells her, it's just you and I in the end, and everything. And we find out that Anna did not call the ambulance, and he says, so there's no ambulance coming, because she tells him, she pretty much she's sad because she thought Peter was her son. So Anna is very sad and upset about, the way he turned out, I guess, and all that it came to this. And so she wants to be with him. She didn't want to leave him alone because she knew he was going to die. And so she told him, no ambulance is coming. And I told what are they calling, WSB? She told them that it's going to be, the location is, it could be like this location that's not easy to find and everything. So Peter knows he's about to die, and he just asks Anna to hold his hand, and she holds his hand, and she starts, she gets a little teary-eyed because she's sad that he died, but he does die. And then later on, she closes his eyes and she leaves him. And then later on we see that Peter Peter has died, and then we see Felicia, Maxie, Drew, and Anna. They're all, talking and everything, and Felicia and Anna kind of go off to themselves. Well, they explain to them, again how Felicia found her. Can you take her to her nana, please? How Felicia found Maxie and everything, and then they sorry about that, guys. And then they say when Felicia and Anna go off, a little bit away because they want to have a private moment. She lets Felicia know because Felicia's like, something's wrong. What is it? And Anna tells her, I didn't call an ambulance. And Felicia said, I'm glad you didn't. Like, we needed to make sure that nobody could revive him, that nobody was going to keep him alive. And honestly, as fast as Peter died, the ambulance probably wasn't even going to get there in time. They weren't probably going to even make it in time. Even if they did, he was probably going to die on the way there. But Anna is feeling. I hope this doesn't put her down a pigeonhole because she's very by the book and everything. But yeah, they understood it. Okay, so then we see, just to stay with this storyline. Then we see that Austin and Brett are, and I can't. What is her name? Liza, is it like? But anyway, they're talking or whatever, and Austin is pretty much just he's pretty much just like, it's he. If something happens to Maxie, he would feel bad because it's his fault. And at that time, Brooklyn and Chase roll up, and Brooklyn was like, what did you do?" or whatever. And so they're going back and forth, and Britt is just like, listen, this does not help. You two going back and forth. Like, everybody's worried about Maxie. We need to be focused on positivity and everything for them, to bring Maxie home. And so they decide to do that. I'm sorry. So they decided to do that, you know, be positive for Maxie and everything. And so while they're doing this, they find out that, so while they're doing this, Chase and Brooklyn go and speak to Mac because they brought Louise to see Mac. And Robert is there. And while they're there, Maxie calls and she lets them know that they're safe. And she lets them know that Felicia killed Peter, that, no, that Felicia found her. At that time, they didn't know he was dead. But they soon find out that Peter did die. So then Brooklyn goes and tells Austin and Britt and everyone that, he is dead. And just wrapping this up, Austin was the only one who realized that is your brother, no matter what he's done. And we know he did bad things. How do you feel about it? And so she just admitted that, he was such a bad person. She had reconciled that he was a bad person and, a long time ago. So it was what it was. And she was like, well, I guess everything, is gone with them. And he was like, what, you don't want children? And she was like, no. It was just a filler stuff. Like, some of these were filler episodes, like just wrapping the week up. So I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the week for their cliffhanger. But so that was pretty much it with Austin and Britt. So then we see, so everyone now knows that Peter is dead, and they're happy and they're excited. They're happy that he's dead, because he was such a terrible person and he ruined so many lives that, they're happy that what happened to him, and that they could move on, start moving on with their lives. Now, Victor, they're gonna come out for you because they know you started all this. But so then we see. And then we see, okay, so then Sonny. So we're gonna go to Sonny. Sonny is at the bar getting drunk. Phyllis isn't there, so the bartender just keeps giving him these scotch or whatever. And I'm like, sir, stop serving him because he is clearly getting drunk. But Brendo comes and Sonny just tells Brendo, I'm glad you and Sasha talked, but if you see her pulling away from you, you really need to talk to her and work this out and make it good between you two. And I'll offer you my cabin. Oh, he also tells them that him and Carly are getting a divorce, and he was sad to hear that for Sonny. He said, I'll offer you my place in Niagara Falls, and Brenda was like, okay, he took Sonny's advice and, like, trying to not have a disconnect between him and Sasha. So then we see, just to wrap them up. So then Sonny has gotten drunk. Now this man, the bartender said, "You need me to call your car?" He said, "No." Sonny had his keys talking about, "I think I could drive." Okay, sir. When you get pulled over for going all across the road, that breathalyzer is going to say that you should not have driven. So but as he's about to do all this, he calls Nina, y'all. And the conversation he had on that message he left, where he's like, "I know you love Mike." He talking about I'm being, yes, you are, sir. Don't do her like that. Do not, I like Nina. Don't do Nina like that. She loves Mike. She loves Sonny as well. Like, she accepts him for who he is. But yeah, don't do her like that. I don't like that. So then Nina shows up. So I'm like, girl, glad, because he did not need to be trying to drive. So speaking of Nina, now earlier in the day, we see that she is meeting up with Lucy, and Lucy says something's going on with Sasha. Like, we didn't even have to have this meeting, but she wanted to have this meeting and everything. So Lucy is concerned, and Nina was like, "I think everything will be all right." So they go in, they had this meeting with Sasha, but before that, Sasha's friend had offered her, a little assistance. And I hope that Sasha doesn't go down the wrong path or whatever. But they have their meeting, and then Brendo shows up, and Brendo tells her about Niagara Falls, and she's like, she was tripping at first because they have a new girl playing her for the time being. But she agreed to it. She wasn't tripping like in a bad way, but it was just like, you could tell she was a little hesitant, but she agreed to it or whatever. So they're going to go to Niagara Falls. And, guys, that's pretty much what the episode was. It wasn't that big of a deal. Felicia does not regret killing Peter. I mean, he was about to kill your daughter. I don't blame you. Sonny is acting like, I hate the way he treats Nina. I really do. I hate the way he treats Nina. Like, if you want Carly back, then stop messing with Nina. Stop doing Nina like that, and stop hurting her. And Nina, stop letting him do you like that. Like, stop being that pick me woman, where you, like, that message he left her was so disrespectful. But whatever, it's not my business. But I hope they don't send Anna down a spiral either. But y'all, that was the episode. It was kind of a filler episode for a Wednesday, and I know I say, oh, this was a filler episode, but that actually really was a filler episode, because it was just, yeah. Oh, and Brooklyn and Chase talk, and he was just, they're just sad because they're gonna have to give up Bailey, but they're happy that Maxie was found and she's coming home safe. Y'all, that was the episode. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.